This is Motivate, where motivation is key. I am your host, David Bohannon, and we are here today to talk to you about the second pillar, which is survival. Is the first pillar. Second pillar is stability, to stabilize your business. So let's get into it. All right, this is Motivate. If you're just tuning in, where motivation is key, I am your host, David Bohannon, and we're here to talk about pillar number 2, which is stability, to stabilize your business. As a recap, we talked about in pillar number 1, the analyzing of your business, how to organize, and how to evaluate your business. And in this pillar, we're going to talk about your systems, the systems you have in place to move yourself from the survival state, which a lot of businesses are currently in, into that very next state, which is to stabilize. And we talked about in the first video about how to, or in our first live on Monday, and how to analyze your business, figure out where you are, really to make a plan to go forward. And now that we're in this second stage or pillar number 2, it's implementing those plans. It's implementing those systems, whether your systems around training, if you have a retail business, if your systems around ordering, if you have an online business, how are your systems working? What's working? Part of that evaluation for an online business would have been looking at your systems, looking at your apps, looking at all the things that support your business, to then move your business forward in this stage. Are those systems all working? Has there been a way that you can consolidate your systems? Because one of the things that happens with the different support systems and platforms that you can use for your business is more of them are doing more things. So it could be a situation where you are now consolidating. I notice with the online platform for Wix, they're starting to do a lot of things that GoDaddy is doing. And GoDaddy likewise is growing in some of the areas and doing some of the things that Wix are doing. You can go on to Wix right now, and your Wix will also help you to create logos. So those things are changing. Some of them were independent. They were independent companies, but some of the platforms are starting to be multifaceted. So as you analyze your business in the first pillar, maybe your action step now is going to be maybe to merge some of those things, or instead of paying for, excuse me, 2 or 3 different services from different apps or different people, you can then maybe merge those into maybe just using all GoDaddy or using all of Wix for those of you who had online, and then looking at your stores and looking at where you're getting your supplies if you have merch online. And so now in this phase, how are those systems working for you? How is your development going in those systems? Because in this phase, we want to stabilize. We built the foundation in the first pillar, and now we want to get the structure together. We want to make sure the business is flowing in the way that it needs to flow. Are there areas in your business where, again, you can consolidate so that you're not wasting money or paying for 2 or 3 different services? And then maybe now you can bring those under one umbrella, whether that be GoDaddy for you, whether that be Wix for you, whether that be Bluehost. Again, as information is moving fast and these host companies are changing and these apps are changing, look into it. I noticed in a couple of cases, again, I've got GoDaddy for my that has my domain name, but they're also doing a lot of other things that I am now doing on Wix. And so to look at those things and say, hey, can I go to just one of these services versus using 2 or 3 different services? So we're stabilizing the business now. What training do you need to acquire? If you're online, what other things do you need to add to your arsenal to continue to smooth out your business? As you're looking at your business, if you have an online business, again, what's the next level for you? Would it be to invest in some equipment? Would it be to invest in microphones? What would that be for you? So we want to stabilize your business at this point, because as we get into Fridays, live, we're going to be talking about significance. Now that that business is running, right? This is how you impact other areas or grow your business. And so we'll be talking about more of that on Friday. And so to stabilize your business, you have that foundation. Now to stabilize the business or the structure, that's now that next phase. Pivot. Is it a time for you to pivot where you're doing business one way in the arena where I'm coaching people that have shops and barbershops and salons and encouraging them, okay, this pandemic has hit us all. Do you have an online presence? Are you selling merchandise? Are you selling brushes? Are you selling conditioner? Do you have a website? There's ways now to pivot. And as I said in some of the earlier videos, hopefully we've used this pandemic time to really look at our businesses and look at the things that we can be doing different. And as hopefully things start subsiding, and even if they don't, what other ways can I now market my business? I'm talking to one of my restaurateurs and talking about coming up with different menu items that, and maybe sauces and things like that, that they can now offer online so that they're not so one-dimensional. So I ask you, and please leave in the comments, what ways or what ideals do you have to stabilize your business so that in the event of something else happening, and not even the fact of another pandemic or something, but just being aware, some of the household names that used to be around aren't around anymore. Kmart, some of these people that went out of business, Kmart and Sears had merged. But a lot of these places are struggling because they did not adjust. They did not pivot to online. And so, even some of the bigger names, Nordstrom's struggling, but again, they did not pivot. They did not have a different way that they were doing business, and they didn't attack some of that stuff early enough. Good morning, Sarah. And so they didn't attack some of those things early enough, and so then it affected their business. So now as you stabilize your business, look at your business. We've evaluated your business in Pillar 1. Now you need to stabilize. What's going on with your business? How do you generate more money in your business? How do you look at your business a different way? Whether you're doing nails, whether you're doing hairs, whatever your business is, what other ways, good morning, Sarah, what other ways can you then now structure your business so that you're able to solidify that business, strengthen the systems within that business. And even as it relates to your job, what are you doing in your job? Are there other ways you can do your job? Is there other trainings that you can now take? As we teach entrepreneurship, sometimes people think we hate jobs and we hate companies. I still currently have a company, but then I have these businesses I'm running outside of that company, and my ultimate goal is to replace that income. And do what I'm doing full time between my window cleaning business, this coaching business, and this training business. And so to see an example of some of the merch and some of the things you can do online, you can go to our website and you'll see that there. You'll see our store is there. But to pivot, to change. And so a lot of times companies haven't changed, and it caused them to die. It caused them to go away. So even in your personal pursuits, as you're raising your families and you're doing those things, I tell people, have multiple streams of income. You say, oh, well, I'm not building a business. Okay, but have another way outside of your job only that you can support your family. I tell the story about many years ago, I was working for a company, and on that Thursday, they came to us and they said, next Tuesday, you don't have a job. After going through that experience, I decided that I was going to always have a business on the side. And for many years now, this is my fourth business. I've had a catalog business. I've had another window cleaning business with a partner. And now currently I have the window cleaning business. I have Motiv which is this company that supports the podcast and the live shows. And so there's always another way. So think about multiple streams of income. You're going to be working hard, but what else can you do? Maybe it's a hobby. Maybe you're good at doing hair. Start working on that and building that business. Doesn't mean you quit your job or leave your company immediately, but you have other ways that you can develop and you can grow and you can support your family. So that's part of this stabilizing either yourself, stabilizing your business, so that you can strengthen that business. So as we get to that next step of significance where you're able to give and grow and add on to your business and things like that, that you're ready for that. So to stabilize your business is to look at your systems, see what systems are working, see if you can merge some of those systems and continue to work those systems. Is it the area of training? Do I need to add someone to my team? What is the stabilizing piece for you? Now that you have your systems up and running, how are those systems running? How is it working for you? You know, I one of those guys where I teach there's systems for everything. There's a pay system. There's an ordering system, whether it be your job or whether it be your business. You know, there's a system in which, you know, that money's transferred to your bank. And so look at all your systems, see how those systems are running, because as you scale, as you grow, it's going to be important that those things are working. And you want to take care of all of those things now, because if there's a problem or if there's a system that's not working, what eventually happens as you grow, it all of a sudden pokes its head out and you realize that there's a problem. And it doesn't mean that as you scale or even in your stability stage that everything is going to be perfect, because things happen. Sometimes you outgrow apps. Sometimes you outgrow systems that you're using where they're only going to be able to maintain a certain number of online people for you. And so that forces you to get another system. Some of them will support you up to 100. Some of them will support you up to 1,000. If you get beyond that, some of those systems or apps can't handle that, and so then that forces you. And those are things that you're going to want to know now as you're scaling and as you're growing your business. And so to stabilize your business is to make sure that those systems are working and to implement those systems, because in the first pillar, we evaluated our systems. Now you need to implement them. Once you know that this system's not working, you got to take action. You have to implement your system and then again make sure that it's working. So it's really a second evaluation phase that you evaluate when you start, when you're in that survival mode. And then you're going to reevaluate your systems to make sure they're working, making sure they're adequate, because you're going to continue to scale, you're going to continue to grow. And back in that example of the restaurateur that that I'm talking with, is now what is that product going to be? He's looking to come up with products that, again, he could put online. You know, some restaurants sell their sauces. That's a way of changing the way they do things so that they have a different aspect or a different source, revenue source coming in to that business. So again, they're not so one-dimensional. In the instance of shops and things, I'm suggesting all my shops, and I'm actually researching some bulk things because I'll supply some of those things. But to your shop, if you're doing hair, do you have conditioner? Do you sell hair? Do you sell shampoo? Do you sell combs? Do you sell brushes? You know, things like that in your business. So as you're in the stability phase, what other things can you be bringing in, or systems can you be bringing in, or tools can you be bringing in so that you can grow, so that you can expand your business, so that you can continue to bring in sources of revenue? And then we're smoothing out those systems, making sure those systems are working and flowing, because once you get those in place, even in this stability pillar, now it's time to drive. We couldn't drive our business, we couldn't start marketing or paying for marketing or any of those types of things in that first pillar because we were still trying to figure out what was going on, what adjustments we needed to make, the problems and where we were losing. Like, for instance, if you're in the retail space, if you got half of your product walking out, you got to fix those problems before you can start driving your sales, before you can start really building and focusing on that so that you can get to that next goal, that next mile marker for you. Currently, right now, one of our goals at MotiveE is we're racing toward 100 videos. We're almost halfway there to where we're going to be putting out 100 videos of content that's going to help you with your business, that's going to encourage you, that's going to motivate you to keep going and whatever you do to never, never, never give up. And so, again, in that stability mode, you're going to look at those systems. You're going to implement those systems. You're going to make sure those systems are going whatever that system is for you. And if you've missed a step in that first pillar, like we talked about on Monday, then you're going to want to make sure you have all the systems that you need. At least you've researched them, because in this pillar you're implementing now. And so that you've researched the systems that you need. Again, if we go back to that example of hair or other products that you may sell, where are you getting those things from? When is it going to cost? And when are you going to place your first order? That's that implementation stage. That's that stage where you can now start putting these things into practice, because we want these things up and running. And then when we get to that stability stage, or to this survival stability, the significant stage, then at that stage is when we're going to really be driving, really be pushing, being able to take, maybe monies from this area and get other things. We're exploring some things around when it comes to printing our merch and things like that. We're looking at other avenues, because our ultimate goal here is to start printing even more and more merch and in our own business, getting our own machines to print our merch. And so it's things like that you do that's going to help you be significant, right? To drive your business to the next level. And our merch business is actually going to be another business within our business that's going to be doing things like I'm talking about now. It's going to become another business that not only prints our personal merch, but prints merch for other companies. And so things like that you implement now into your business so that your business can continue to grow and move to those next levels. So we're in that stability mode. We're making sure things are solid. We got the foundation in the first live on Monday, and now we're making things stable. We're building that house. We're putting the windows in. We're making sure the plumbing and electric works and adjusting anything there. And as far as business goes. And so now in this phase, again, we're going around, we're checking, all the light switches are working, everything is going there, because you don't want these things to fail when you have people come in your house, oh, the light's not working, this is not working, all because we didn't stabilize in this section of our business. You don't want orders to start flowing and then all of a sudden you can't fulfill those orders, whether it be your online or your physical presence, if you have a physical store or whatever the case may be, however it applies to you. And so with that being said, we're in that stable pillar, and we're making sure that all those things work and all those systems are implemented. If you have staff, now it's time to make sure your staff is trained. If it's a situation where you don't have a physical staff, now it's time for you to learn and make sure you understand your systems, how your systems work. When I'm not doing the lives, I'm doing a lot of studying behind. There's a class I'm going through now that's allowing me or teaching me how to niche down and continue to figure and bring you better and better content. And so, again, it's adding those tools to our toolbox, stabilizing our house so that we can then go forward and be significant. And so as far as your systems, making sure that they progress, and then just your overall operations, the overall operations of your business, how are things working? Now that we've gone through that evaluation stage, what things did you find in that evaluation stage that now it's time to adjust? And again, if you're just joining us, we talked earlier about the situation where, some of the services are starting to do the same things as far as the things that support an online business. And so to look at those and evaluate those services and realize, wait a minute, I can then now use maybe just GoDaddy, or maybe I can just use Wix. Again, I mentioned earlier, Wix is who I build my site through, my website. But they're now starting to do things to help you design logos and things like we have on our hats and stuff and our shirts. So now, instead of going through another service, you can go to Wix and they can, help you with building a logo if you don't yet have a logo for your business. And so, yes, this is how you stabilize your business, your overall systems, ensure that those overall systems are working. And then when we go into the next pillar, which is significance, that's where we really start going. We start hitting our marks. We start hitting our goals. We start hitting our benchmarks as we're marching toward those things, and then figure out what our next steps are going to be. For us here at MotiV, one of our significant goals is in October, we're going to have a studio built out. And so we're still working on the parameters there, but that's one of our significant things. Adding the machines and the printing machines and things like that to the MotiV platform is part of our significance, where we're reaching out and we're doing other things to grow those businesses and grow those sections of our business to where they become businesses within themselves. And so again, this has been MotiV, where motivation is key. Join us on Monday as we talk about significance. We talk about going from survival to today, which is stability. And on Friday, we're going to talk about significance. How do you make your business significant in your communities, in your areas? Things like, what are your, charities that you like to help or give to? So when we're in that survival mode, we're the charity, right? Because we're trying to get things together and we're trying to put things together. But when you become to that significance, which is our third pillar of our 3 pillars of business, now you can start looking at, do you have a church that you want to help? Do you have an organization that you want to help? So we look forward to seeing you on Friday at 5:20 a.m. Again, this has been MotiV, where motivation is key. I am your host, David Bohannon, where we are business, we're for business, and we are to business. You can join us on MotiV2@yahoo.com. You can also read us at MotiV, that's MOTOVEE.com. Click on shop, that's where you'll find our merch. And do us a favor. Go to our YouTube channel. You can go to YouTube and you can type in MotiV, or you can type in my name, David K. Bohannon. Like, subscribe, comment, and share our YouTube page. And until next time, until Friday, this has been MotiV. Motivation is key. I'm David Bohannon. God bless.